Plaintiff Lisa Warren was addicted to crack cocaine for years, and it even caused her to lose custody of her 7 children. Lisa claims she sobered up after spending 2 years in prison, and she turned to her niece, the defendant, to help her get a place to live. However, Lisa claims the defendant ended up kicking her out, and she's suing her today for stolen property and emotional distress. Defendant Kiana Dunbar says she was never around Lisa growing up, but when she asked Kiana to help her get a place to live so she could get her kids back, Kiana agreed. Kiana admits that she asked Lisa to move out because she wasn't paying the rent, and she's countersuing today since she was held responsible for the unpaid rent.
Start with you.
First of all, Your Honor, I'd like to say that I'm grateful to be here today. Today is a blessing, and I'm grateful to be alive because I have a long-term history of drug abuse and drug abuse of crack cocaine. I have 8 children, and I lost 7 children to the system. I relapsed 5 years ago. I had since then went to prison. I did a 2-year term in prison.
For what?
For transporting cells. Okay, I went to, in 2006, 2008, I was released and I went into a sober living. At that time, my mother visited me very often there, and I became, because she had gotten sick when I was incarcerated, so I was a great help to her. So upon leaving the sober living, it was about my birthday in November of 2009. So I wanted to become stable. I wanted my own place again, so the defendant, what
happened to your children? Did you get them back?
One of them I did, but I also have custody of one. That's the baby boy. One I did get clean, and I
Where
did get
the other
back.
6?
The other ones, they ended up getting grown. A couple of them with their father, stuff like that.
You want to give me some background before we get to the stolen property?
I would like to say that I've never really been around my Auntie Lisa like that, when I was younger. I've been around her a couple of times when she was sober, but after that, I never really seen her again. And when she got out of jail this time, back in, 2009, that's when she, told the family that she was sober, that she needed a place for, her and her kids to get her kids back. So, me being her niece, I wanted to help her. She wanted to get her kids back. Of course I want to help you. And
how could you help? How old are you?
I'm 21 now, but this was when I was 19.
How could you help at 19?
Because I already had a credit established to get an apartment.
Defendant Kiana Dunbar got an apartment in her name for the plaintiff so she could attempt to get her children back. But the plaintiff claims Kiana kicked her out and stole her property.
All right, let me hear from her.
Yes, she did agree. I asked my older sister for help. She tried and it failed, the credit check, as far as that's concerned. So I told her to ask my niece, so I asked her, and she said, she didn't really want to do it at first, Your Honor, which I understand because I had bad credit. She said, well, I will.
You had a background.
Yeah, I had that and bad credit as well. But there's really never been no big issues with me and my family members other than us not being real close as far as me doing anything for me. They just never needed to do anything for me because I still was independent doing all things for myself, never needed them. She agreed to help me there was a stipulation that if she can come to me and pay the rent for me every month. I agreed, of course, because I wanted to get stable again. I wanted my own place. So that was well. Upon doing that, she stopped coming about 3 months into me being there because it was a year's lease. Mm-hmm. So she stopped coming paying the rent. So I developed a relationship, with a management office, taking the rent in every month. After that, about September.
When did you start paying directly?
Directly April.
And
in April.
Did they switch the lease into your name?
No, the management that leased the apartment knew it was for me. Mm-hmm. So it didn't matter. So I was I was taking the rent in every month. Everything was going well. In September of 2009, I understand the defendant said that she wanted her name off the lease. I said, okay.
Hold on, I'll let you.
I said, that's fine. That's okay. Mm-hmm. So October 26th of 2009, okay, I wake up to the defendant standing over me, one of my nephews standing over me, and some other guy. Wake up, get up, Auntie, get up. Get your such and such up. I'm like, wait a minute, don't come over here talking to me like this. I'm still your auntie. Mm-hmm. Come on, let's go to the office. Let's go change this lease. Okay, fine. But, I just was groggy.
What did happen?
What did happen, the lease was not changed. What happened was, I called, after I got dressed.
Did you try and change the lease?
No, I never did.
Why not?
Because I guess they told her she couldn't do that.
Okay,
So
good
she's
enough.
like, get out. You're evicted. I'm evicting you, Auntie, laughing in my face, smiling. I'm evicting
That
you. But
day she told
that
you?
same day.
All
but
right.
also when I got up going through the hallway, the man was changing the locks on the door, but the rent
That
was
same
paid.
day?
That same day, the
All
locks
right,
were being
ma'am, let me hear
changed.
from you.
Okay. When I went in there, before all that, I got a phone call in October, like she said. I got a phone call from my other auntie, Patricia Glover. I have statements here of her saying that she called her and told her to tell her to get in touch with me or my mother and tell me that she's no longer paying the rent no more. When I got that phone call, I said, okay, well, I told my auntie Pat, I said, okay, I'm about to come down there. So I get there, I'm knocking on the door, no answer. So I go to the office and explain to them the situation of what happened. So they're like, okay, what you can do is you can either break the lease and we have to charge you $1,000 fee, which I do not have money for, or you're just gonna, if she doesn't pay for you say she's not gonna pay, ma'am, so that means you're gonna get an eviction on your name.
Okay, so what did you do?
So after that, I decided that, I can't pay the $1,000, so I'll have to get her out by the time the lease is due.
What did you do?
I went and I did what I had to do.
What is that? You
I
pretty
said, what
much
is
you
the
evading
steps?
this question. You
No,
must
I'm
know you
sorry.
did
I
wrong.
said,
You must
what
know
is the
you
steps
did
I need
wrong.
to do to
What
get
did
her
you
out?
do?
I did what I did. I went
All
to
right.
the
She
apartment.
says
I
you
told
evicted
her.
her and you won't tell me. So, stolen property. How is it that she stole your property?
Well, when we were out in the apartment and then we was riding through the apartment building next door.
When?
That was in the 28th. She
Of
put us
what?
out December. 28th, December
2
28th.
months later.
2 months later, she came back and put us out because I didn't let them put me out that day because the rent was
Well, how
paid,
did
Your Honor.
how did you get in if the locks were changed?
But they changed it because I had one of my neighbors stand outside and watch because the man changed the locks. and
How
she was
did you
there.
resume getting in?
But they didn't close it. They just changed the locks. They didn't
Okay,
close
so
the door.
you maintain your residency
Right, I maintained
for
it-
2 months.
Yes.
Even though she had ordered you out
Right.
October 26th.
That's correct.
You stayed until December 26th.
28th.
Even though you had received notice to get out.
The rent was paid though, Your Honor, in full.
Okay.
In
Up
full.
until December 28th?
Up until November the 1st. The rent was not paid in November or December.
Okay, so you weren't entitled to stay if you didn't pay your rent.
Okay, the lease was up in January.
Yeah, you got to pay regardless
You're
of when the
right.
lease is
You're
up.
right.
You got to
You're
pay
right.
to stay.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. Okay, I went to the leasing office
What are you suing her for? How
For my
did she
property.
steal your property?
because we stayed there.
When did she steal it?
She stole it December 28th.
How?
She went inside there because she had a key. She got a key, went inside after she kicked us out because when we came, I was sick that day.
She went inside, set your things out.
They had him in the car. She had him in the car because I saw her with him in the car.
Okay, did you ask for your things?
Yes, I did.
And
They
what
said
did
they
she
were,
say?
What happened? She said that we'll meet you at the apartment building. I stopped at the
She
store.
said what?
Meet you because we was in my mother's apartment
Did
building.
she meet you?
No, she met me.
Did she ever get your things out of
no,
her car?
No.
Ma'am, let me hear from you regarding her property.
When she said, she said, I want my things back. I said, okay, meet me at the apartment.
Hold on, let's back up. When did you take her things? When did you remove her
never
things?
removed- okay. The thing is, when I had the doors locked, after that, she was out.
That's not
Because I had the doors
Okay,
locked.
what happened
And
to
when
her?
she was
Ma'am,
out,
what happened to her things?
it was inside the apartment.
Uh-huh.
And what she said,
How long after that were they removed?
they were removed like a week later
By you?
by me and my sister is my
Very
witness.
good. You cannot change locks unless the judge orders and he signs the order allowing an eviction. You changed the locks and removed her things illegally. Now, your counterclaim for $3,177
Yes.
is for unpaid rent. How does she owe you and for what months?
For the month of November, December, and January that she was still in there.
How much was the rent?
The rent was $1,059 a month.
Okay. Ma'am, you went back, as she said, and as you agree.
Yes.
And you stayed November, December, and January?
No, I didn't stay January, Your Honor. They had kicked us out.
You stayed, I know they kicked you out,
Right.
but you came back.
Okay, on the 16th of January, they let us came back and let us in. And then they kicked us out again on
Ma'am,
the 23rd.
did you live there November?
Yes.
Did you live there December?
Yes.
Did you live there January?
A week in January.
All right, that's living there. Now, you have the items that were missing.
Yes, I do, sir. And also I have
because of your illegal eviction, ma'am, I could charge you 3 times the damages, but I'm just going to grant her the things she alleges were missing. And with regard to the rent, I'm going to grant you the rent. She says she stayed 3 months. Her only defense is she didn't stay there the entire month of January. Now, I see there was $2,500 for a bed, a china cabinet.
May I speak against
Yes.
that? The bed and the china cabinet, sir, belong to my grandmother.
Okay.
And I asked
You
my
have any
grandmother-
evidence of that?
I have evidence. I have a written statement from my auntie.
Saying that it belonged to your grandmother?
That stuff belonged to my
What was she doing with it
grandmother.
then?
My grandma gave it to her, as a housewoman gift to her.
Gave it to her.
Yes.
All
so
right.
She can.
Judgment for the plaintiff, $5,000, $3,177 for the rent.
1823.
Leaves you with 1823. Judgment for the plaintiff and the defendant. Have a good day.
Thank you. Well, I just want to say that it didn't have to be like this because I never treated my
like
family.
this.
I didn't treat my family like this. Anything they need from me, I helped them with. And I think it was really cruel how she did it and put me and my child in the street.